All right. Okay. Well, welcome back to school. Happy New Year. Happy new quarter. Happy new decade, 2020. I don't know. Happy everything. I hope you guys had a good winter break. Um, did everyone have a good winter break?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Anybody stick around? Like, did anyone stay on campus during winter break? Yeah? What'd you do?
Nothing?
Nothing? Okay. That's good. That's good. Did you at least get lots of sleep?
Yes.
Great. Okay. Everybody get lots of sleep over winter break? Good. That's good. All right. I live locally. Okay. I live in Encino. That's like 20 minutes away without traffic, an hour if there's traffic. And I stayed at home with my family mostly. We visited some in-laws and some family. It was a good winter break. And we're back at school. I'm excited to be back here. I don't know about you guys. I saw on Reddit somebody saying I'm dreading the start of the quarter on Monday. Well, I hope that's not you, but if that's you, I'm sorry. I hope you'll get back into the swing of things, feel good. I'm sorry. Okay, so this is me. I'm Miles Chen. I'm going to be your instructor, and this is Stats 102A, Introduction to Computational Statistics with R. And I'm really excited for this class. And I'm excited to be in this classroom. This is like one of the nicest classrooms on campus, okay? And this front row is really great. And you have okay, maybe this seat isn't so perfect because you're at this funny angle and this podium is blocking you. But I would say from this seat on, it's good. Okay, so anyway, it's nice. And you guys all have power adapters for your computers and everything. Right now, I don't know why you guys have your computers open, because this lecture is not even available on the website. So if your computers are open, you're probably browsing something that's not course related, and that's going to impact your learning. Now today we're not going to be covering a whole lot of content, okay? But I think in general, in class, yeah, you do whatever you want, right? You guys are adults, so you can make decisions for yourselves. But in general, I think I'll just have the lecture, and I would prefer you guys to just kind of follow along, and then maybe make eye contact, and if you're nodding your head, I know that's a good sign, and if you're staring off into space, maybe I know something's going wrong. Okay. So here we are. You guys all took Stats 20. This is, how do I keep this on top? Let's see. Oh yeah, there we go. Keep on top. Okay. Oh, now we want the settings to go. Okay. You guys all took Stats 20, and this is 102A. We'll cover just a few highlights from the syllabus. I'll post the full syllabus, and you can read over the syllabus on your own time. But this is it. Okay, so my name is Miles Chen. That's my email address, mileschen@stat.ucla.edu. Sometimes you'll see it miles.chen@stat.ucla.edu. That also works, okay? Miles Chen and miles.chen both get sent to the same email address. Sometimes you'll get something from mileschen@gmail. That's also me, okay? There's another Miles Chen somewhere out there. His email address is milescchen@gmail, which is like way too similar to mine, and sometimes I get his random emails, and I'm like, sorry, this is not me. Yes, my name is Miles Chen. It's not me. But okay, anyway, that doesn't matter. All right, my office, Math Sciences 8105J, and I'll have office hours basically from 4 to 5, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, okay? I teach this class from 2 to 3, you guys, and then there's another class immediately the same. I just repeat myself, okay? 3 to 4, and then after that we'll have office hours, okay? You can call me Miles, all right? I know sometimes it's a little bit weird to talk to your professor as Miles, but you can call me that, okay? If that's too weird for you, you can call me Professor Chen or Dr. Chen. That's also fine, all right? What I don't like is when you start off emails and you just say hello because you couldn't figure out what to say, all right? Hello and no name, that's That's what the robocalls do, okay? And then, and then don't just call me Chen, all right? I don't, you know. So that's what we have. Okay, I think this adds up. So we're gonna have 6 homework assignments, 6% each, none are dropped, okay? You're gonna have quizzes and discussion sections. So starting tomorrow, you guys have discussion section tomorrow. There's gonna be a quiz, okay? What am I gonna quiz you on? Okay, I'll talk about that, all right? Midterm, final, we'll have Campus Wire, 3% participation there. We'll have class attendance. I know, it's like, what are we in high school? But we'll do that. And then I didn't want to make class attendance like 5% or participation 5%. So I kept them at 3 and that left 3 points left over. So my gift to you, 3 points free for being awesome, okay? I've never given someone less than 3%, even though maybe they didn't deserve all 3 points, but everybody gets 3% for being awesome. All right. Okay, and then straight scale, I don't curve, okay? If for some reason something goes terribly wrong with the exam, maybe I'll make an adjustment on an exam. But in general, I don't curve. You guys are not competing against each other, okay? You don't feel like somebody else has to fail in order for you to succeed, okay? If everyone does super well on their homework and exams, then everyone can get an A, all right? I have no problem with that, okay? There's no, I see it as my responsibility to present an exam that is challenging enough to kind of, that's appropriate, okay? All right, so that's how it goes, all right? Homework, we'll talk about homework. Basically, it's due when it's due, but there's a grace period, 10 minutes. That gives you some time to, covers any issues with, upload problems, okay? But then after 10 minutes, then I got 5-point deductions for each hour up until, so usually my homeworks are due at 6 p.m. And then, so that means 5 points up until midnight, and then they stop, and then you have until, and then the deductions resume 6 p.m. the following day, okay? So it's basically a full day late is 30 points off, 2 full days late is 60 points off, okay? But it's kind of graduated, so it's not like as soon as it's late, it's 30 points off, okay? It's graduated, each hour is 5 points. I get it, life happens, okay? If you need an extension, just include in the homework just some kind of note, some documentation for the extension. You don't even have to talk to me. Just include it straight with your homework. The graders will see that. They'll give you 72 hours straight up, okay? If you need more than 72 hours, so more than 3 full days, then come talk to me, all right? Sometimes life happens and you need more than 3 days. I'm happy to grant that to you as long as it sounds reasonable, okay? But yeah, if you get sick, okay? So here's the thing. If you get sick and you say, I couldn't turn in my homework, I can't just go off of your word, all right? Get a note from a doctor, okay? If the doctor says, yeah, you were sick, or at least you visited the doctor, then I'll submit the doctor's note, and then we'll give you three days, no other questions, okay? You don't have to send me a giant email talking about everything, all right? We try to be reasonable, okay? So that's how that goes, all right? Okay, discussion section quizzes. So we're gonna have quizzes in discussion section starting tomorrow, all right? Tomorrow's quiz will mostly be stuff that you should have learned in Stats 20, okay? Just to kind of make sure that you didn't forget everything over your break, or maybe you took Stats 20 as like a freshman or sophomore or over a year ago or something, and you haven't touched R since. Shame on you, but that's okay. All right, everybody gets 100 points % on the quiz, okay? You get points just for showing up to discussion section. So how it's going to work is they pass out the quiz, you answer it, okay? Take this as an opportunity for self-assessment, right? Like, yeah, you can say, oh, I'm going to get 100%. I'm just going to draw smiley faces all over the quiz. And it's true, we'll give you still 100% for smiley faces. But that's not going to help you learn, right? So, so take it, we'll collect it, we'll just write down your name, record your scores. We'll also then pass out blank quizzes to everybody, and then we'll go over the answers, okay? And then you can learn from those quizzes, and they should be helpful in your learning, okay? But you gotta go to your assigned section, all right? And I know some of you have section at 8 a.m. or something. You gotta go, all right? And then, okay. And because it's an attendance quiz, there's no makeup quizzes, all right? There's nothing to make up. You can't, okay? You get a free missed quiz. No documentation required for that, right? You slept in, you didn't, whatever. Something happened, you didn't go. That's fine, okay? And then we're willing to grant 2 more misses with documentation, and then beyond that, no more, all right? I got to draw the line somewhere, and just, I don't know, if you have an excuse for every single week, then something went wrong. Okay, so that's that, okay? And the quizzes are worth 5% of your total final grade. Right. Okay, office hours. I like when students come to office hours, okay? When you come to office hours, say your name, all right? I've got a lot of students, and it's hard to remember all of your names. So if you come, every time, just say, hi, Miles, I'm Joe Bruin, whatever, okay? And then keep saying that every time you visit until when I see you, and I'll start to say, oh, hey Joe, how are you doing, or whatever, okay? When you do that, then you can stop saying that. If I don't say your name, you can, introduce yourself to me, right? I'm happy to answer questions about material. I'm happy to provide some homework guidance, okay? I'm not gonna straight up give you the homework answers, but I'm happy to provide guidance for homework. If you have questions about, like you're interested in grad school, you're gonna interview for a job or something and you wanna know this and that, I'm happy to help you there, okay? The only office hours I don't like, okay, is when I get in a fight with a student about points on an exam or points on a homework, all right? Those are my least favorite, when I have to say like, no, you did this wrong and it should be worth 5 points, and they say, well, I think it's only worth 3 points. It's frustrating to me, okay? I feel like, there's memes about, let me speak to your manager. It feels like that, okay? It feels like that. So don't be that person, okay? But that's fine, It's part of the job, right? If you're the manager, you sometimes have to deal with those customers, okay? And if you're the professor, you sometimes have to deal with students like that. I'm just telling you, it's not my favorite interaction, okay? It's okay. If we make a mistake, all right? If we honestly make a mistake, absolutely, you should come and say, hey, I think you made a mistake. And I'll say, oh yeah, you're right. We made a mistake. We'll give you your points back. Or I'll at least try to explain, oh, I don't think it was a mistake. I think, indeed, this is wrong, okay? I'm happy to do that, all right? It's just when we're getting to like point negotiations, not my favorite. All right, I'm not the best at responding to emails, okay? If you want a fast response, come to office hours, all right? You can email me, and I do try to respond to my emails, but I'm a little bit slower to respond to emails. I just warning you there, okay? Okay, I don't know, right? Questions about this stuff? The course syllabus is a lot longer, but that's just the highlights. Okay, all right, so what is this class about? That's a good question. Okay, I would say it's like foundations for data science. I imagine that's why a lot of you have chosen to major in statistics, is that you are hoping or aspiring to enter careers in data analytics and data science, something related to data. Otherwise, I'm not quite sure why you're studying statistics. This guy, Drew Conway, created this Venn diagram, the data science Venn diagram, and he says it consists of coding skills, math and stats knowledge, and domain expertise, okay? He calls it hacking skills, but basically it's your ability to code, write programs, write things, okay? And all right, and so classes like the 100 series fall under your math and stats knowledge. Okay, so all of your theoretic stuff, 100A, 100B, 100C. You guys are all taking 100B right now, or what? No? You guys already took 100B. Okay, all right, well, great. Okay, and so you learned about all your distributions and stuff, and that all falls under math and stats knowledge. Okay, this class, the 102 series, all 102A, B, and C, all falls under, I would say, kind of the hacking skills overlapping with the math and stats knowledge. The 101A and B fall under the math stats knowledge, and the 101C is kind of a blend there in that data science. Okay, what the stats major can't give you is the substantive expertise, right? That just basically means where the data is coming from, you should be knowledgeable about that subject, right? If you're going to be looking at medical data from cancer patients, you should have studied something about medicine and cancer, right? Like you need to have some basic biology and medical knowledge in order to have a context for this data, right? If you're going to be looking at data from the business world, you should have taken some business classes and understand some of these ideas and key concepts. Because there's so many applications of data science, whether it be in psychology, medicine, business, or whatever it is, we can't provide the substantive expertise for every single possible field. Okay, so you've got to go out and say, these are the applications of data science that I'm interested in, and I'm going to learn this substantive expertise myself. Okay, we can't provide that to you as the stats major. Okay, all right. Okay, and so when you have all three, then you've got data science. Okay. And I guess with the programming, the math stats knowledge, that kind of falls under your machine learning. And then as soon as you make an application, data science, right? Okay, and then substantive expertise is important, right? A lot of times, we don't do like a class project in this class, but sometimes people will want to do a data analysis on some data set they find on Kaggle or something. Kaggle's a great place, but it's like the Google Play App Store. It's like some stuff is good and some stuff's not good. You got to be judicious about which data sets you're going to use, right? Some data sets are very poor quality. Someone did some web scraping, but they did a bad job, and so you've got like poorly formatted or missing or just wrong data in there. And you need to have some substantive expertise there. So when you see, somebody was looking at some kind of, bicycle ride data, okay? And when it says the bicycle ride, right, it's kind of like nobody uses these UCLA bike share things, right? But I think all of those machines log how long you rode your bike, right? It says you rode your bike for 25 minutes or something, right? And then when you get a bike ride that comes back and it says it was 127 hours, somebody should go, that's weird, okay? Right? Because our logic says nobody rides a bike for 127 hours straight, right? Unless you're going for some crazy century club or something, I don't know, whatever, right? Something weird, right? No, it's probably a mistake. Somebody forgot to return the bike and then they got an alert that your bike's been checked out for 5 days. Oh, I got to return it or something. But if you weren't aware of the context of the data, if you don't have the substantive expertise, you're in trouble, okay? So anyway, that's what we have, right? So anyway, this course, I'm hoping, is kind of an introduction to this field of computational statistics and data science. The class is titled Introduction to Computational Statistics because it was first established like decades ago, before this term data science became popular. Data science as a term, I think, started existing around 2009. Someone from Google came up with this term, okay? But when we talked about computational statistics, it's basically what data science refers to now, okay? And so we're going to do this by expanding your coding skills. So you learned some stuff in Stats 20 already. We're going to push them a little bit farther, okay? And then we're going to start doing some applications, right? Okay, and so we're going to look at some of the methods of computational statistics and stuff there, all right? So kind of the first half will be more programming stuff, and we're going to cover, the first couple weeks are kind of review from Stats 20. We're going to dig into those, then we'll start looking at web scraping. We'll look at dplyr, tidyr, regular expressions for text handling. We'll look at object-oriented programming using ggplot, okay, so visualization and stuff. Okay, once we cover all of that, then we can start talking about computational statistics stuff like dealing with floating point arithmetic, which is subtle and I think it has some interesting stuff going on. We'll look at all of this other stuff, root finding, numeric optimization, bootstrapping, statistical simulation, stuff like that. Okay. All right. I like to think of this as like a coding 2 class. This doesn't exist, okay? It's something I'm making up, right? But in order to graduate from UCLA, you have to take a writing 1 and a writing 2 class, right? And if you take a writing 2 class, you know, whichever class qualifies for this, you can expect to do a lot of writing, right? And this is what UCLA says. It says writing is essential to thinking and learning. Clear, concise writing is a key strength for an academic career. Students who write well can lead expressive lives and create powerful communications about their ideas and opinions. All right, and I'd say that's true, and that's why everyone has to take a writing 2 class before you graduate, even though for those of us, for a lot of us in South Campus, we don't like to write, and we purposely did not choose these North Campus majors so we could avoid writing, right? But we recognize that writing is important, and so we take a writing 2 class, maybe begrudgingly, right? I like to think of this as kind of like a coding 2 class, all right? You can expect to write a lot of code for your homework, okay? And so my adaptation is that coding is essential to interacting with and learning from data, okay? The ability to write clear, readable code is a key strength for a data-related career. And if you write code well, you can create powerful tools to implement your ideas and solutions. And so, anyway, that's why we push a lot of code writing. Okay. All right, and so this brings me to the next point, okay? We're going to talk about academic integrity and plagiarism, okay? So here's some true facts, okay? There's a lot of high-quality code out there that does exactly what you need it to do, all right? A lot of it's in these ready-to-install packages, okay? And some are offered as solutions on places like Stack Exchange and GitHub, okay? Great stuff out there, okay? And this is the second point. If your goal is to accomplish a task, right? You need something done, okay? Use the readily available packages, okay? You need to create a neural network, just use the neural network package, okay? You need to create a linear model, just use the LM function on your computer. You don't need to reinvent the wheel when you're trying to accomplish a task, okay? But the goal of this class is not for you to accomplish a task, right? The goal is to teach you how to learn how to write code. That's the goal, okay? That's the clear difference, okay? So this, I like to use this analogy of lifting weights at the gym, okay? And you heard this phrase, no pain, no gain, right? So if you think of the gym, lifting weights at the gym, the goal of lifting weights at the gym is not so that the weights get lifted, okay? The goal is so that the person lifting the weights gains strength, okay? And there's this mantra, no pain, no gain. If your weight training doesn't result in any muscle soreness, okay, you probably didn't exert enough effort to expect muscle gain, okay? And experiencing muscle soreness is a sign that your muscles will go through repairs and will get stronger, okay? Similarly, okay, for your brain, okay, if your brain doesn't struggle when writing with code, then there's no reason for your brain to try to create additional neuron connections, right? This is how we learn new things. Our brain makes connections between the neurons. They say, oh, we used to have to route the signals this way, but if we make a connection here, we can, route a signal this way, and we learn stuff that way, right? And so if you're not struggling at all when you're writing code, your brain has no reason to improve, right? This is why learning is hard. When you're learning, your brain has to say, man, this is hard. I've got to make new connections. And then you come back later and you go, oh yeah, I can do this, right? You think back to high school or 7th grade and Algebra 1 was hard, right? You had to learn how to factor things. And now you go back and you go, wow, this is super easy, okay? Same thing here. Anytime you learn something new for the first time, it's hard, okay? Your brain has to form new connections and it's tiring. Your brain has to work hard. It's exhausting. It's tiring. It can be frustrating, especially when you look at your neighbor and it seems like they're having an easy time with it, okay? It's hard, but that struggle means that later on when you sleep, your brain is going to go back and say, all right, let's form some new connections, and then you'll come back a better coder, all right? So the struggle is a good thing, okay? If you plagiarize a difficult assignment, right? So you give you a homework assignment, they're intended to be hard. They're intended to force your brain to work hard to make these new connections. If you say, man, this is hard, I'm going to look for solutions on the internet, okay? What you're basically doing is you're going to the gym and saying, hey, these weights are heavy. Can you lift them for me? Okay? And then you go, oh, great. The weights got lifted. Okay? I can go home now. Okay? That's great if the goal was to get the weights lifted, but that's not the goal of the class. The goal is to get you to learn. The goal is to get your brain to form those connections. And so the person at the gym is going, no, I'm not going to lift these weights for you. You got to lift them yourself if you want to get stronger, right? And so that's what we're doing in this class. I'm going to give you tough assignments, and I want you to work through them, and I want you to struggle through them so that your brain forms the connections and you learn, right? If you say, man, this is hard, let's go on the internet, let's ask somebody else how they did it, and let me see their code, you're basically asking someone else to do the weightlifting for you, and you're not going to improve, okay? So yeah, copying, pasting, modifying a stronger programmer's code, it works if the goal is to accomplish a task, right? And so in the professional world, when they say, hey, we need this done, and the goal is no longer to learn, but just to get a task done, I would say it's okay. It's okay to go to Stack Exchange. It's okay to see how these things are done, because the goal in that case is to get the weight lifted, right? But in the course, in the class at school, the goal is not to lift weights. We're not in these, like, if you fail your homework assignment, like, no business is going to lose money, all right? There's nothing riding on the line, right? When you go work for a company and you code things wrong, okay, your company is going to lose money and they're going to be unhappy about that. So yeah, it makes sense to ask people who are better than you at coding and stuff to kind of look at your work and make sure things are right. That makes sense, right? But in this class, the goal is not, like, one of your assignments, I'm going to have you program a game. Like, I'm not going to use your game and try to play it, okay? Like, the point of the exercise is for you to go through the exercise and learn the code, okay? And so anyway, if you plagiarize it, you're losing that, right? Okay. So this is what I say, right? I think students resort to plagiarism because they've confused the goals of the course, right? For them, the students who plagiarize believe that the goal of the course is to get a good grade or avoid a bad grade, and the goal of learning is secondary to the goal of getting a desired grade, okay? And that's wrong, okay? The goal of the course is to learn. Now, I admit, okay, there's a major conflict here in that I have to give you a grade at the end of the course, okay? And this is like the problem here, right? Like I can get you on board with the idea that learning is the goal of the course, but then at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, I do have to assign a grade, okay? And that stems from the fact that I'm not able to create 80 different individualized grading plans for you guys, okay? And in fact, if I did that, people would cry that that's unfair and that I have to grade everybody on the same criteria, right? Like, if you wanted to gain strength at the gym and you have the money, you can hire a personal trainer and they'll come up with a personalized plan to make sure you gain muscle and whatever, right? I can't do that individually for each of you, and then I can't also like, grade you in some weird way. So yes, I do have to grade you based on what you've turned in, okay? But I hope you can judge your performance and what you got out of the class based on what you've learned and not on your final grade, okay? And I know that's contrary to like what you've done your whole life, right? Like all of you here are at UCLA because in the past you got good grades, right? In high school you got good grades, or maybe you turned things around in community college and you got good grades in community college and you transferred here, right? But you don't get into UCLA with bad grades. Like I know everybody here had good grades, at least at community college or in high school, okay? And I know for some of you in high school, like, because this was also my story, like some classes I didn't have to work hard at all and I got the good grade, okay? And other classes I had to work harder and stuff. But I often judged like whether I was good at the subject or not based on just my straight grade on the thing, and not really how much I've learned, okay? And it took a lot to change perspectives, and maybe I'll tell you the story. Maybe we'll run out of time. Okay. So anyway, this is my expectations. When you face a tough homework assignment, okay, I want you to work hard, and I don't want you to look up solutions online or someone else's code. Okay. And if you're not able to complete everything by the deadline, submit what you have and accept that you're not going to get 100% on the assignment, okay? And I know it feels weird submitting something that you know is going to get less than 100%. It doesn't feel good to do that sometimes, but I'd much rather you do that than try to seek out some solution, right? The goal is not to get the weights lifted, but the goal is to work out until you say, well, this is what I'm capable of, okay? All right? The statistics department in general, as a whole, we take kind of issues of plagiarism seriously. We're gonna, we refer things to the dean's office and stuff. Full details we'll do in the syllabus, okay? Using collaboration policy, I've worked with Professor Tsang, and this is kind of based off of another university's collaboration policy. But we're going to go for pretty much all of the homework assignments. You are allowed verbal collaboration without code sharing, okay? So you can talk to other students and use words to express what you have done, okay? And that requires another part of your brain that says, okay, I'm translating code ideas into words and turning word ideas back into code, okay? That's another important part of communication, all right? And so you can talk about what you've done using words, but without showing code. That applies to discussions on CampusWire as well, okay? You are allowed to draw like pictures and flowcharts if you need to, okay? All right, so this is a little bit silly, right? Okay, so what's allowed, right? So if someone says, how did you approach problem 2? You can say something like, I created a for loop. Within each iteration, I subset the x vector to the desired values, and then use the sort function to sort the result. And then I assign the results to update the output object or something like that, okay? And I feel like with words, you can describe a lot, okay? You can describe a lot, and that's fine. I'm okay with that, all right? I just don't want you guys showing code, because the point of this class is to get you to be able to write good code. And if somebody just shows you the code, then it's not going to work, right? Okay, policy violating response. Let me show you what I did, okay? Or I email you my code. That's bad, right? All right, and then, as far as the collaboration policy goes, just say like, hey, I talked to Joe Bruin and they helped me, okay? There's no penalty for collaborating in a loud way, okay? We just want to be aware of it, right? Okay, if someone says, hey, can I double check how you did? Double check my work, okay? You have to say, I can't show you my code, but I can tell you what I did, right? If someone says, can you help me figure out what I'm doing wrong, right? I've got a bug, I can't find it, okay? Keep saying this thing, right? Missing value where true, false needed, right? You have to say, I can't look at your code, but did you make sure you did this, okay? Or, this error message often refers to, you have an if statement and you're getting an NA somewhere in there, okay? And you can help out in that way, verbally, okay? You just can't say, all right, well, let me look at your code, right? It's easier, right? It's easier to help someone find a bug if you're looking at their code, but debugging is an important skill that people gain as well, okay? And I don't want you to take away that thing, all right? All right, and it is a coding class, and you are encouraged to discuss code as long as it's not part of an assignment, okay? So if you got questions, like, I'm gonna post code in my lecture slides, you can talk about that code. You can share that code. You can look at each other's kind of code when you're talking about ideas and concepts and stuff, okay? It's just for the homework assignments when it says, we need you to do this, those homework assignments are there for people's learning, so don't take that away from each other, okay? All right, so this, I'm gonna wrap up today just talking about grades in life, okay? And this is just so you know where I'm coming from, okay? And what I value in all of this, okay? Your grades do not define you, right? And I already said this, you got here at UCLA because you had good grades in high school and stuff, okay? And a lot of your energy, right now, almost all of your energy is being poured into your classes, and then when you finish your classes, you get back a grade, all right? And so that can confuse you and say, like, okay, the grades are important, because it feels good to get good grades. I get that, okay? And it doesn't feel good to get a bad grade, right? Okay? And, yes, grades do play a role in graduate school admissions, that's true, okay? But they're not the most important thing in life, right? No one who's dying looks back and says, oh man, I can't believe I got a B+ instead of an A-, okay? All right, there's so much more to life than school, okay? You've got friends and family, relationships, you got all sorts of other stuff that you can do. There's more to life than grades, okay? And then in fact, once you start your professional career, even getting hired for your first job, grades play a very, very minimal role, okay? When people look at the resumes, they're not looking so much at your GPA as far as hiring things, okay? They're looking at what you've done. They're gonna wanna see a portfolio of the kinds of projects you've done, okay? It's not, your grades in an individual class aren't the key here, okay? I'll have to save the story for another time, okay? About my story of my relationship with grades, okay? Because it transformed. I used to think grades were very important, and then it changed, okay? Hang on, I'm not done, all right? Okay, I want to talk about work-life balance, okay? Because this is kind of a key and central thing that I want you guys to take and walk away with from today's thing, okay? So I like to think your life, right? We have 24 hours in a day. Everybody has 24 hours in a day. And how we split that up is going to get split between work, relationships, and self, okay? Your work is going to be stuff like jobs and internships or school and academics, maybe other professional obligations, clubs, and stuff like that. Your relationships, we can split into kind of family, friends, and a romantic partner, if that applies. Other social obligations that might exist, okay? And then lastly, we have self, right? Care of your physical health, care of your mental health, care of your spiritual health if you're spiritual or religious, okay? And it's not possible to give 100% to every single one of these categories. It's impossible, right? And so work-life balance, people ask, how do you achieve work-life balance? Okay, it's achieved by consciously choosing what is important to you and then devoting your time and energies accordingly, okay? You have to look at this list and say, these things are important to me, these people are important to me, and I'm going to devote my time and energies to these things, okay? General rule of thumb, the more time you put in, the more energy you put in, the more you're gonna get out, okay? And you can have satisfaction. Satisfaction can be found by accepting the natural consequences of what you have chosen to deprioritize, okay? What you choose not to devote your time to, those things in your life will, in general, suffer, okay? But if you say, that makes sense because I'm not devoting as much time, and you're okay with that, you can live a satisfied life, okay? And so here's just a silly example, right? Okay? Let's just look at one section on relationships, right? Let's say you're part of a good group of friends, okay? And one day you become involved with a romantic partner, right? And then they have movies about this kind of stuff, right? If you choose to invest all of your energy into your romantic partner, your relationship time and stuff into the romantic partner, your relationship with your romantic partner will grow and flourish and benefit, okay? But your relationship with your original friends are going to suffer. That's just a natural consequence, all right? And when you realize that your relationship with your friends is suffering, like one day they go out and watch a movie without you, without even inviting you, like your feelings might get hurt, okay? You might feel bitter about that, okay? But if you look back and say, well, oh, yeah, it makes sense because I used to hang out with them, 3 hours every day, and now I hang out with them 20 minutes a week, okay? It makes sense that they're not going to invite me out to all of these outings, right? But instead, I have chosen to invest in this romantic partner, okay? And I reap the benefits of that thing, okay? And if you can accept kind of the natural consequences of what happens when you put less time into something, you can walk away without bitterness, without anger, or things about these natural consequences, right? If you think about the professional world, okay? In the corporate world, companies reward people who devote a lot of time to the company, okay? They're not penalizing people who have personal lives and lives outside of the company, but it just makes sense. From the company's perspective, if you've got two people, all right, both of them did everything you asked of them, but one of them, after they did everything you asked of them, they stayed even longer and did even more stuff for the company, versus the one who did everything you asked of them, and then they immediately went home to their family, friends, and relationships. And you go, well, who should I promote? Obviously, it's the one who doesn't have the social life and stayed with the company, okay? And so it doesn't make sense for the person who has the friends and the romantic partner to get angry that the other person got promoted, okay? And if you recognize this, you don't have to be bitter at work when other people get promoted for putting more into the company, okay? If you feel like you deserve that for whatever reason, then there's bitterness and there's unhappiness and dissatisfaction with life. But this is just a natural consequence of these people put more in and they're getting more out, right? But you're putting less time into this thing so you can enjoy these other things in life, right? For me, I have a family. I've got a wife and children, and I devote a lot of time. And as far as professional obligations, I feel like I've got the best job because I have no desire to go any higher up in terms of career, right? Like, I'm happy with the amount of energy and effort that I have to put into my job to be where I am, and I don't feel like I need to climb any higher. And so I'm very happy. Sometimes students ask, like, do you ever want to go into full-time professor or whatever? Like, no, I'm happy being a lecturer, not doing research, doing exactly what I am doing, teaching, okay? And that's what work-life balance is. You got to make choices and you got to be happy with those decisions, right? Okay, all right, self-care, all right, is important. You can't neglect this, because if you neglect this, then what happens is you operate at a lower efficiency for the other things, right? So if you aren't getting enough sleep, all right, let's say you don't get enough sleep, a friend invites you out, you choose to hang out with your friend instead of get sleep, but then you're out of it and you're dragged to hang around, okay? That time is a little bit wasted, right? Similarly, I don't know, all right? So take care of yourself, and so this is kind of the final bit, right? When I tell you your mental health is important, what I'm saying is I'm encouraging you to choose things like sleep and relaxation that will boost your mental health, okay? Sometimes this means not completing your homework to 100%, okay? Because completing homework to your 100% might require you to sacrifice other things that are important for your mental health, okay? So the natural consequence of not completing your homework is that your homework grade is going to be less than 100%. And if you can be okay with that, because you have made the conscious decision to prioritize your mental health, which I think is important, over your homework, then you don't have to be bitter or angry or depressed about the grades that you're getting in the class, okay? Thanks for listening to me and all of this. I look forward to a quarter with you guys. I'm looking forward to everything that we've got. So we'll see you guys on Wednesday. Okay.